Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Hive. Today is a very exciting day for these bees. So as you can see from the activity, they're finding a white pollen from the different willows and trees that are out there. But look at this, they're having to deal with this tree that came down in the ice storm. We were last here on February 26th, and we showed you what to do some simple hive checks under winter conditions. So what we're going to be doing today is cleaning up from the ice damage of the storm, and we're going to be looking at the hives, assess how heavy they are, and whether they need an extra bit of feed to take them through to the next stage. I'll start with a very quick assessment where I'll just sort of pick up a corner of each hive and get an idea of how much activity it has and also how much weight it has. If it is light or if there's a lot of activity, I'll be looking at putting on a second box. So I'll also be finding which ones didn't make it through the winter and want to use those as support for the hives that did. So we're going to get started, and I'll start with down here and make my way along. That's got some very good weight. It's got some good activity there. Good activity there. This probably be a good idea. We'll look at putting a box on. This hive here, you can see lots of bees bringing in pollen. Not as much activity up top. They do have some. And the weight's okay. I'm gonna get rid of these gloves. So that's a maybe, so I'll put the cover on sideways. Yeah, worker brood. I've done the initial assessment of this bee yard. Out of the 20 hives I put into winter here, 3 of them didn't make it, which isn't too bad, but that's still, say, a 15% winter loss. But that's easily recoverable from the colonies that did make it. So we're gonna get the resources out of the hives that didn't make it, do an assessment of them, make sure there's no disease, and then we'll be ready to go into the hives and top up the ones that did make it. Look at this hive. This is my scraper box. So these top bars get scraped down. I recover the wax, it'll go into the solar wax melter. So this was a drone layer that was put up on what I thought was a good hive, but they didn't make it. Take a look what happened here. Mostly I'm just looking for disease. That's what I really don't want to do, is transfer disease. So this is a small cluster that essentially apparently starved out. They just weren't able to stay on the feed, and so have pulled off. We don't know why they were a small cluster. Could have been mite susceptibility. We'll just brush them off. The bottom board, we just dump the bees out into the grass. And the equipment is ready to be reused. So for those of you that joined us on the February 26th video, Hannah was doing the stethoscope test on the different hives. And this was one where she could not hear anything. And the reason for it, it didn't make it. It had died by that point. So we're going to take a quick look inside as to why, and then move on from there. Oh, it's very light. So they didn't feed. They didn't take feed last fall. I probably shouldn't have even wrapped them, because if they don't take feed, then that's a sign that they're not queen right, or they're just not viable for some other reason. So if you see these frames, these feeder frames I'm putting on, they're full of pollen. So when these are put on, it's not just to give the bees room. These are power feed bars, you might say, for the hive. They'll grab those resources and convert them into baby bees very quickly. Now the deadouts have been inspected and cleaned up, I can set up second brood chambers over queen excluders. Each hive will get the equivalent of 3 frames of feed and pollen, plus 6 other frames. The bees will utilize the resources and prep the frames for the splitting of the colonies, which will take place in 4 to 5 weeks, when mature drones will be available for mating. Everything stays on site and is handled only once. This is very efficient. So another thing I like to do right around the 10th of April, we're a little bit late this year, it's been a colder spring, is put out a gallon per hive of stimulation feed. So now that we know 17 hives made it in this yard, then I'll put out about 17 gallons of syrup, and those bees will be stimulated and use it to prep the boxes for making up the splits as well. And put the hive cover on like this, and the bees have access. And then that can be the rain guard. So what'll happen is the bees will come, get the syrup. Because it's sitting out here in the sun, it'll actually get quite warm there in sunny days and help with the uptake. And then it'll all be ready to go and be converted into baby bees.